If you're wanting a zucchini bread recipe just like Grandma used to make, then today is the day, because I'm going to share with you my zucchini bread that's been selling out at every single farmer's market for at least 6 weeks in a row now. Welcome to my 52 Weeks of Baking series. My name is Sydney if you're new here, where each week I take you on a journey as I make a new recipe in the kitchen or an old recipe and share it especially with you guys. The first special ingredient in my zucchini bread is coconut oil. If you have an allergy, you can use regular, but I prefer coconut. It adds a perfect moisture to it, and you don't taste the flavor too much to where it's too much coconut. I think it's just right with the balance of the other spices within the bread. So we'll add that to our bowl. And then for the other ingredients, I have some applesauce here. You want to make sure you're using unsweetened applesauce, not sweetened, because then it's going to be too sweet. And then I will add 1 egg to the bowl. And then to my egg, I'm also going to add a teaspoon of vanilla, and we will mix this together before we add in our dry ingredients. I almost forgot about my sugars. I have equal parts brown and white. The brown sugar will add a nice little taste of molasses to the batter. When it comes to the dry ingredients for this dish, I have some flour here along with baking soda, baking powder, and salt. And then the spices, I have cinnamon and just a little bit of nutmeg. And we want to be sure we're not over mixing this, so I'm just going to whisk it until there's just slight streaks of flour throughout the batter, and then we will add in that zucchini. I have my freshly grated zucchini here that we're going to add in. And my favorite part about this recipe is that you do not have to strain or dry out the zucchini. You leave the water as is, straight from shredding. Not only is that so much easier on time and effort, it also is going to add a lot of moisture to the batter. Growing up, we always had an exuberant amount of zucchini from our garden. I was always looking for unique ways to throw it into recipes, and other than zucchini bread, my top favorite way was to make zucchini meatballs. So you take the shredded zucchini and mix it with ground beef and put it in pasta sauce after you cook the meatballs. It's a great way to hide the vegetables, but you didn't even taste it. It was perfect. I have a really awesome recipe for brown butter zucchini cake, which is also delicious. If you have any cool ways to incorporate zucchini into recipes, let me know. This recipe that I'm showing you guys right now, I'm actually making half of the batch because I don't have anyone to necessarily give it to right now. So I'm going to do half to give to my neighbors. I'll post the full version in the description for you so that you can make a full-size loaf or 4 mini loaves. We've got our little loaves ready to go in the oven, and the trick here, I'm actually going to bake them for 5 minutes at 425, keeping them in the oven, drop it down to 350 for the remainder. That initial high temperature will help react with the baking soda and the rising agents in the bread to make it really rise up, and then we lower it so that it continues to cook evenly and not overbake. We'll circle back once it's fully cooked. We've got our little baby loaves of zucchini bread out of the oven. The house smells amazing, cinnamony, spicy. Even though it's a summer dessert, it honestly smells like fall in this house, and I couldn't be happier. These are our little zucchini breads. They're great to give as gifts, so I'll put the time in the description for making them for mini loaves versus a full-size loaf. But how could your neighbor not love a little loaf of zucchini bread like this? It's the perfect gift without being too much. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's episode of my 52 Weeks of Baking series. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode.